Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Prime Minister issues a call for a special CARICOM meeting to formulate a coordinated response against the Ebola and chikungunya viruses in the Caribbean region. And Trinidad and Tobago takes center stage in October when it hosts the 8th America's Competitiveness Forum in Port of Spain. And the Finance and Economy Minister gives an insight as to what to expect in the upcoming budget presentation. Thank you for joining us. Budget Day is a day when citizens wait with bated breath to hear just how the government plans to allocate funds to projects and social programs, as well as the distribution of the country's non-financial resources. With 3 weeks still, the national budget, groupings within both the public and private sectors are directing their conversations to how they wish to see the public funds spent.
As the government prepares for its 2014-2015 budget presentation on September 8th, the discussions among ministers and cabinet members centered on how to continue the economic growth and development of Trinidad and Tobago. Minister of Finance and the Economy, Senator the Honorable Larry Hawaii, says a number of discussions developed when ministers were asked what they wanted to see in the next budget.
The discussions this evening, if I could summarize them, focused on three broad areas. The first was on revenue and revenue generation, because we must generate revenue if we are to be able to meet the commitments that we have. Secondly, there was a focus on individuals, what could be done to assist individuals in different phases of their life cycles. For example, young people, what are some of the things that need to be what are some of the issues that need to be addressed as far as the young are concerned? The question of assistance for the elderly, particularly in Trinidad and Tobago, and the third area focused on housing, which came up, which was an area mentioned by many of the persons with whom we had, many of the members of cabinet as well as MPs, where they saw that there was a need for us to particularly address the issue of housing generally in Trinidad and Tobago.
The Honourable Minister outlined several proposals and topics that were discussed, which will redound to the benefit of citizens across Trinidad and Tobago.
These all have to be evaluated in some more detail, and we have to determine the policy implications and cost implications of the suggestions that were made, as well as the implications on the revenue side for the suggestions that were made with respect to how we can generate more revenue. All of these have to be considered in some more detail. But the thing is, I was very grateful for the feedback. There were a lot of innovative ideas put forward as to how we can address it in issues. And they all will be considered as we continue the process over the next 3 weeks of finalizing the national budget.
As budget day draws nearer, such talks are expected to intensify with a degree of frequency. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
And remember, you can stay tuned to our TV4 as we bring you updates on the upcoming national budget while we recap the 2013-2014 national expenditure. As concerns continue to rise within the region about two potentially devastating viruses, Trinidad and Tobago is seeking to encourage preventative measures. In recent weeks, the Ebola and chikungunya viruses have received tremendous attention as they pose a threat to the health of citizens within the region.
Prime Minister the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessor is calling for a special CARICOM meeting to determine a coordinated response to the two main public health threats facing the world at present, namely the Ebola and chikungunya outbreaks. In response to an advisory issued by the World Health Organization, as well as an increasing number of chikungunya cases in the Caribbean, Prime Minister Persad-Bissessor has offered to host this meeting in Trinidad and Tobago. The proposed meeting will draw upon the expertise of the region's leading voice on health, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honourable Denzel Douglas, as well as the health ministers of other member states. The meeting will feature discussions geared towards orchestrating a plan of action in response to the increasing number of cases of chikungunya in the Caribbean and the prevention of the Ebola virus disease. This meeting will be instrumental in CARICOM's stance, together with the rest of the global community, in the fight against these life-threatening viruses. Thus far, the Caribbean has not recorded any cases of the Ebola virus. However, Trinidad and Tobago has recorded 22 cases of the chikungunya virus, while there have been several hundred reported cases in other Caribbean islands. Prime Minister Pisar Bisesa is calling for a more preventative approach to the situation, saying we must not wait for a crisis to act. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Substantial progress has been made in addressing many of the key issues facing prison officers. This according to Minister of Justice, Senator Emmanuel George. He makes this assertion as the team tasked with implementing cabinet decisions resulting from the report of a special prisons committee delivers a status update.
In November of 2013, following the shooting death of off-duty prisons officer Andy Rogers and subsequent protests by prisons officers and riots amongst the prisoners, Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa commissioned a report into the state of prisons in Trinidad and Tobago. Upon the report being presented, the Prime Minister established a technical team to act on cabinet decisions resulting from the report and implement the recommendations. Giving an update on Monday, Justice Minister Emmanuel George says many of the recommendations have since been put into action. In a release issued, the minister states some of the key issues addressed include the provision of bulletproof vests, firearm users licenses and housing for prisons officers, use of force policy and training, installation of beds, toilets and additional structural upgrades, and expanded use of the Eastern Correctional Rehabilitation Center. The release reveals that a supply of bulletproof vests has already been sourced and the prisons officers can expect to receive them by October. It states the number of firearm user licenses issued to prisons officers has increased, but not without ensuring that the proper risk assessment protocols are observed. The release goes on to state that officers are being allocated houses in keeping with the Housing Development Corporation's allocation process, and they are also given emergency housing in instances where their lives may be at risk. The release adds that almost 400 prison officers and counting have benefited from training in proper use of force, and the success of the training will be continuously monitored. Regarding prisoner accommodation, 44 beds have been installed in the south wing, while the lighting, plumbing and toilet facilities in cells are being upgraded, and the common area is also receiving a facelift with tiling, painting and the installation of stainless steel toilets. The release ends by noting that in a bid to end overcrowding in the prisons, the Eastern Correctional Rehabilitation Center is being purchased by the Ministry of Justice. The property is being purchased at a cost of $230 million TT dollars, and legal documents are being drafted by the Chief State Solicitor to wrap up the purchase. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
More news when we return. Welcome back. In just about 6 weeks' time, Trinidad and Tobago will host the America's 8th Competitiveness Forum from October 8th to the 10th, 2014. Now, this is the largest gathering of government, private sector, academia, and civil society in the Western Hemisphere to discuss the issues of competitiveness, innovation, and trade. The media launch for the forum took place at the ACF's Secretariat Conference Room and shed light on what is to come at the event, carded for October.
The ACF provides the opportunity for the 34 countries that are members of the Organization of American States to have a focused discussion together with their business counterparts and the NGO and academic community on issues pertaining to, as I said, competitiveness, innovation, entrepreneurship, and of course economic growth and sustainable development. It also provides a venue for companies to explore growing markets, new investment opportunities, and new business alliances and networks.
The event has been in planning since 2013, when the chair was passed on to Trinidad and Tobago to host the conference later this year. The issue of competitiveness has been one of Dr. Tiwari's passions, even under a previous incarnation, since his days of being Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus, where in conjunction with the Inter-American Development Bank, he established the first Caribbean Competitiveness Center.
It's an important event for us as a country. It is an important event for us as citizens. And it is an important event for us in a context in which Trinidad and Tobago is really emerging in the world as a nation of substance and being regarded as a country that can offer significant leadership in a number of spheres.
Today, it's the same passion which brought the council together.
And by bringing all of these people together from all over the hemisphere and the world, because we are bringing people from India, from Singapore, in addition to the 34 countries of the Americas, we are honoring and speaking to the principle that you have got to collaborate if you wish to innovate. That while the human imagination at the individual level is important, that collaboration in the context of engagement and in the realm of ideas is critical.
The minister said he felt that the time was right to bring the media on board in terms of where they have reached in the planning process. He said the media are one of the main stakeholders in the participation of this forum, since its roles in disseminating the information of the forum is very important. Richard Lewis, chairman of the Council for Competitiveness and Innovation, says it is natural for the Council of Competitiveness, CCI, to play a vital role in the planning of the 8th America's Competitiveness Forum, ACF, being hosted in Trinidad and Tobago.
As a local businessman, I see the endless possibilities and advantages of networking with my counterparts locally, regionally, and internationally during this conference.
The full day of activities is being organized by the Council for Competitiveness and Innovation and will feature international speaker Gabor George Burt, inventor of the slingshot methodology, to assist in the development of the agenda and facilitating the event. The business community is being encouraged to visit the ACF website and register early and also take advantage of some of the early bird specials available.
For the local private sector to show that we are a strong body, interested in moving forward with our own destiny and cooperating with regional private sectors to have a strong, viable future. A reduced dependence on government for our future should be a headline objective.
At the forum, local businessmen can take advantage of this golden opportunity to hear some of the renowned speakers and to meet some of the counterparts within and outside the region. Also, opportunities for business meetings through the American Chamber of Commerce of Trinidad and Tobago will be organized through its business networking website, Connect Americas. The 8th America's Competitiveness Forum is being hosted in this part of the world for the first time, and that the success of this conference will especially be dependent on the local private sector participation. Our country will be on show, and Cooperate Trinidad and Tobago are being encouraged to come out in their numbers to support of this worldwide initiative. Imagine non-governmental organizations, groups and community organizations having their say in cabinet meetings and parliament when laws are being drafted and passed. That's the aim of establishing civil society boards, giving greater power to these groups to have their say at this level. In this story, TV4 gets a peek into how this will be implemented in a one-on-one interview between Celia Regis and Minister of National Diversity and Social Integration, Roger Samuel.
With the national election for the selection of representatives to sit on the Civil Society Board carded for September 4th, Minister of National Diversity and Social Integration, Roger Samuel, sat down for an interview with Celia Regis to give an idea of how this will work in giving a voice to these groups that advocate for critical causes. He notes that through this effort, civil society groups will be empowered to do their job.
The Civil Society Board will be engaged at the level where decisions are drafted and decisions are made. And that is important, and that is something that has never happened in times past. Part of the process will be to constantly monitor and do the kind of development workshops so that we can enhance the operations of civil society. Many civil society organizations, especially the smaller ones, they struggle in internal management and development, and our purpose as a ministry is to help develop that and to help them better what they do The ideas are that their internal managements are what is necessary for the betterment of civil society. And if civil society becomes better, then the nation becomes better.
A common mistake made by many organizations is the duplication of roles and responsibilities. Minister Samuel explains how civil society boards will seek to eradicate this problem across all sectors.
Fortunately, now civil society will then be empowered at a level where their voices can be heard because they are integrally involved in what takes place at all levels of our society.
As to how these issues will reach the policy-making process as laws in our nation, Minister Samuel says they will set the tone for amendments to the laws and further reform.
Civil society will sit with the Economic Development Board. Economic Development Board is an arm of the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development. So that's the level where their views are heard. And then the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development will incorporate the views of the civil society when they now produce their way forward to Cabinet.
You can see more of this interview between Celia Regis and the Honorable Roger Samuel, Minister of National Diversity and Social Integration, where they discuss civil society groups and their role in the nation. Kimberly Ram-Calawan, News 4.
Sports is on the other side of the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Day 2 of the Caribbean Football Union Women's Cup was contested on Wednesday at the Hazley Crawford Stadium in Port of Spain, with the host nation getting into the action. The News 4 Sports crew was there, and here's Wayne Cunningham with the highlights.
In the first match of Group B action on Wednesday, Antigua and Barbuda lost 2-0 to Martinique. Game 2 featured the home team, and the goal for Trinidad and Tobago is World Cup 2015 Canada. But the quest starts here at the Hazley Crawford Stadium in Port of Spain in the Caribbean Football Union Cup for women. Tonight we face St. Kitts Nevis, but also in the group is a tricky Martinique and Antigua Barbuda. Here's how we looked in Game 1. 3 minutes into the encounter, the class of Kenya Cordner came to the fore with this sensational move to open the scoring for Trinidad and Tobago. The celebrations were barely over, and it was 2-0. Once again, it was Cordner as she outran the Cartesian defense, then laid it on a platter for Tasha St. Louis. There was no rest for the visitors. Only 62 seconds had elapsed, and it's number 3. Cordner once again. In the 9th minute, St. Louis was tripped up in the penalty area, and referee Cardella Samuels of Jamaica did not hesitate to point to the spot. St. Louis did the honors herself for goal number 4. The rout was on as the 5th item for TNT was not long in coming. Captain Maylie Atten Johnson getting in on the act. St. Kitts and Nevis got their first sighted goal in the 13th minute with this free kick, which was well struck by Caroline Springer. But Kamika Forbes always had it covered. It was back to the regularly scheduled program after that. Tasha St. Louis scoring the 6th goal for her team, which gave her a personal hat-trick. Johnson looking for her second item here, but Kenyatta McCoy was up to the challenge and effected a fine save. Goal number 7 came 1 minute before the halftime break. Mariah Shade finishing on this occasion as the locals went in with a healthy scoreline at the interval. To say Trinidad and Tobago had a promising start in this Caribbean Cup 2014 would be an understatement. 7 goals in the first half, the highlights of which was the play of Kenya Yaya Cordner and a hat-trick from Tasha St. Louis. Let's see what's up in the second half. The Soca Princesses stepped off the gas a bit as it took them 10 minutes after the resumption to register the 8th item. Janine Francois, the scorer. It was Francois again who deposited the 9th. And the scoring was rounded out by substitute Darnell Maskell for a 10-0 Trinidad and Tobago victory over St. Kitts Nevis. Well, you heard the appreciation of the crowd. 10-0 Trinidad and Tobago. We are off to a good start in the Caribbean Football Union Women's Cup right here at the Hazley Covered Stadium. The action continues on Friday from 5 p.m. I'm Wayne Cunningham for News 4 Sports.
Thank you, Wayne. We'll tell you about the Direct Impact program after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Ministry of the People and Social Development's Direct Impact project, which is geared toward making or taking services to the people, was at the Kunaripo Grounds, Komuto. Minister in the Ministry of the People and Social Development, Vanilla Allen Toppin, spoke to hundreds of residents who sought to access various services.
Once again, it is my pleasure to welcome you.
Councillor Patricia Harris for the electoral district of Komuto-Manzalina commended the works of the Direct Impact program.
After the last Direct Impact program, a number of our constituents benefited from various services offered from your ministry. Thank you, Minister. I want to applaud our Honorable Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, for seeing the need to reach out to the people, especially in the rural areas where poverty is highest due to a lack of employment.
Councillor Ravi Lakan thanked the minister and her team for their contributions in the community of Komuto.
Information that is critical to meeting the social needs of the society was not being shared. But today, we have MPs and councillors throughout the country who has accepted their social responsibility and has accepted the fact that they need to bring information to you. And once you get information about the services that are available, then you can apply for all of these different grants and services and benefit. And that is why I am so happy that Direct Impact is here with us today.
Minister of State, Ministry of the People and Social Development, Vanilla Allen Toppin, a proud member of the ministry, said she was very happy to be a part of the Direct Impact initiative, which now brings help to the people of Toko, Sangre Grande.
You want to buy a whacker, you want to do landscaping. You want to buy a sewing machine and a serger so you can sew up your little thing, you know? And you could sell that. So you are building for yourself wealth. And we want to help you to do that. You want to mine rabbits? We actually at the ministry, we give you rabbits and pens. And we help you to learn how to manage your business, how not to run and spend out all the money as soon as you get it, how to save the money, how to put it in. And we support you and make sure that you're all right.
MP for Komuto-Manzalina, Colin Partap, says the neglect of his constituency by the previous administration is the worst he has seen. He noted, however, that while the people were clamoring for infrastructure, most of their needs are currently being addressed.
Few people came back and they said, you know, we went to the office of the Ministry of the People for a food card, and I usually write a letter giving a brief synopsis of the case and send them to the Ministry of the People at the various offices. And when you go there, they are not warmly welcome, and they are not dealt with. And sometimes the people go away, and when they go away, it reflects badly upon me and upon you, Minister. And so these are some of the things I will bring to you, and I'm asking you to take a look at, especially in Sangre Grande.
He says the Direct Impact program has indeed come a long way, and the program will continue to reach out to the people in communities across the country.
Kumoto Manzanilla is a very big constituency, and you will find a lot of people in need because, as Mr. Bagalu rightly said, the latest survey, this is the poorest region. From Toko, Komoto, and Mayaro, it is the poorest region in the country. But I always say it is the regions with the least crime. And this is something, you know, a lot of the country could take a look at and an example.
The MP said there are plans to build a new activity center in the Kumuto-Manzalana area, which will house a number of government agencies for the community. Through this activity center, hundreds will be able to access various services. Joseph Lopez, News 4. And that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. Remember, you can view a repeat of our newscast weekdays at 6 a.m. and feel free to visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/OurTV4, and you can visit our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheGISLTD. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.